Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little subscribers out there. And how I love you all so, and I hope that you're all super duper wow, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious. And that life is treating you most deliciously. So, what do we do? 3, 2, 1, my juice, little lads. Thank you, little lads. You're delicious and bright. So, it's still like this at the moment, my delicious little babies. Not to worry, okay? So it's very grey sky. It's chillier today. There's no wind, no rain. Okay, my delicious little babies. And what's the time, Mr. Wolf? It's just gone 3 p.m. in our old England today, my delicious little babies. Okay, and I hope that wherever you are in the world, that life is treating you most deliciously, my little lovelies. Now then, so I only have one video today, my delicious little babies, and actually this is like music to my ears, okay, my delicious little babies, and because we need to talk about these kind of things as well, my delicious little babies, because in our older England, um, you know, there's a lot of scammers, okay, my delicious little babies, and and especially for the elderly and younger than that, who very sadly, well, bless their dear little souls, there we are, they do get scammed. Okay, my delicious little babies, so very sadly. But there's this one here. But before I start, I did a video yesterday walking around the lake, okay? And I'm hoping that whoever did watch the video, I mean, I know it took a long time to get to the part I wanted to say, my delicious little babies, okay? But I'm hoping that there we are, that you got what I was saying. It's really difficult for me to explain what it is that is in my noddle. Do you know what I mean, my delicious little babies, okay? So anyway, I'll choose another day, okay, my delicious little babies. I'll try and find a way, maybe for it to come across better. You know what I mean, my delicious little babies? But I know what I'm talking about. Okay, my delicious little babies. If somebody, like in this case, and especially those who run the world, it seems, okay, there seems to be an issue, they do not seem to like anybody who is, they seem to target a certain colour, English, not English, white, my delicious little babies, okay? Whether you're a Christian or whatever you are, okay? Well, mind you, they target everybody. But what I'm saying is, okay, well, to myself, whoever this is, I do not feel is fully white. My delicious little babies, do you understand what I mean? So maybe who's running the world, like I said, is maybe not fully white. But if you look at the ones who say, let's just say, helped to drive us all into the flipping den of inequity, my delicious little babies, like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and all that, okay? Well, they were white, wasn't they, my delicious little babies? Do you understand what I mean, okay? But that's not to say that who's behind all this. And that's why I was saying that, you see, there's good and bad in any different culture or colour, okay, my delicious little babies. Although for myself, I feel that we all have the same blood running through our veins, my delicious little babies, okay? But what I'm saying is, okay, is that for them to let, the Jews, the Jewish, be spoken about in this way, well, there we are, there's clearly something that we are going on, isn't there, my delicious little babies? And I thought that there we are, long time. But ones cannot say that, and there are some out there, my delicious little babies, whose thoughts are the same as mine, that, there's good and bad in everybody. Do you understand what I mean, my delicious little babies? Okay, so you cannot just solely say it's every single Jewish, because it's not. There's a lot of, there we are, Jewish who are not agreeing with any of this at all, my delicious little babies. Do you understand what I mean? They're just not agreeing with any of this. So that's what I was saying, on my camera, that it's like a small amount. Do you know what I mean, mad little babies? Like a small minority, isn't it? Okay, but the majority of the Jewish are not wanting this either, mad delicious little babies. Do you understand what I mean? So that's what I'm talking about. So, it's clear to myself that there we are somebody, let's just say there we are who's running things now. Okay, and that's why I was mentioning all the other side, and that's why I was saying about, you can have some in some countries where they're blue-eyed and blonde-haired, and you have others in other countries where they're dark hair, dark eyes. Do you understand what I mean, Martin? Little babies, okay? But generally speaking, you can generally see there we are what nationality somebody is. Do you see what I mean? And like I said, if you look at India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, so they have certain eyes and nurses and everything, which would say what nationality they are. Just like any other, like Italian or Chinese. You can certainly see they're Chinese, can't you, my delicious little babies? Do you understand what I mean? And of course, if sorry, excuse me, if you was to say mix, I don't know, a Chinese man or a woman with a white man or woman, as an example, well, it's very clear to myself because I've met many little babies who are of a mix, and you can clearly see that they are half Chinese, there we are, and half white. Just like, let me use another example. You could have somebody who's Jamaican, a man or woman who's Jamaican, and then they could be, I don't know, with say an Indian man or woman. Do you see what I mean, Mardelicious little babies? Okay, and again, you can tell. So that's what I was talking about in my video. It's just very hard for me to, get it across the way that I was doing my best. There we are, to explain this. My delicious little babies, do you see what I mean? Okay, but it certainly shows myself if they're, selling the Jewish, there we are, down the river as well, my delicious little babies. Okay, they're clearly, as it's been said for so many years, isn't it, that well, it's very clear to myself that they're not seeing the Jewish just joining the dots as being the chosen ones, are they, my delicious little babies? That's all I'm saying. I'm just looking at different angles, my delicious little babies. That's all that I'm doing. Do you understand what I mean? But anybody who knows myself knows that I'm not racist, prejudiced. Anyway, I shouldn't even have to keep saying this, my delicious little babies. I'm just explaining something now. But when we actually look overall, whoever it is who's running the world, they have a putrid, there we are, hatred for you and I, my delicious little babies in the world, for all of us. Okay, my delicious little babies, okay? So you have to really see, really, there we are, what is going on. And I know that there's many who do, my delicious little babies, but there's many, very sadly, there we are, who do not. Okay, my delicious little babies. It's like I seen just before I say the video. It's just like I seen a video the other day. I never wrote it down. It's about, is it in London? In our old England, my delicious little babies. And there's a family who's got a cafe, and they sell a lot to do with Palestine and everything. They make little bracelets and things like this now. Then, okay. And anyway, well, according to what I was hearing, there we are. They're having, been having problems. My delicious little babies. They're probably, there we are, still are. Okay. So you have to see, everything, there we are, what's going on. And of course, there is such a lot that's going on, my delicious little babies. Do you understand what I mean? So that's why they keep throwing everything at us. Do you know what I mean? It's like every single day, there we are, there is something new. My delicious little babies. There isn't a day that goes by where you do not hear something. Do you see what I mean? If you go back probably, I mean, I remember, my, Howland, so beautiful, dear little nanny and granddad. So, I mean, those are the days, those were the days, my friend. You know what I mean? It's like if you heard, heard, sorry, no, that wasn't the correct English. If you heard, say, a little story, it was like, wow, because it's something that you just do not hear. If you go back all those decades, my delicious little babies, but these days it's every single day. And then I heard another video. When was it? Was it yesterday? Where I forgot now. I mentioned him once. I think it was a couple of years ago. And with anybody not in that way, not in that way. Well, he's up to 11 point. I can't remember. What's it begin with? I don't know. Vicintus, something like that. He's up to 11.3 thousand subscribers on old YouTube, my delicious babies, and he was talking to his friend now. His friend who's older than himself. And he was saying, and he was absolutely right. And I was listening, I thought, yes, because it is true. Like, and this is just changing the subject, before I just, like I said, just say this one video that I'm going to advertise. Like if you get on the bus, okay, he was absolutely true. That man, his friend who was older, okay, it's like for a lot of the elderly, they are, let's just say, weary, of asking somebody, if they can sit down on the bus. Well, of course, it's automatic. I mean, for myself, I will automatically say, stand up and just say, here, you come and take my place. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little baby? It's not a trouble at all. There we are, how I was brought up to be. But we're in such a world now, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? And the only way that I see that there can be any change is, for myself personally, I reckon, well, I don't reckon, I know. My belief is we do not need a government. Okay, my delicious little babies, because it seems to be the root of all evil, my delicious little babies, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not inciting anything. I'm just having my view. I'm a woman with a view. I shall have my effing view, and that is my view. I do not believe for one moment that they are there to help us. Not at all. To continue to enslave us and have taxes off everybody with no skin on the bird race, old-fashioned Jamaican saying, my delicious little babies can. Yes, they're there to do that. But I've been done saying how long? The best thing really that can be done, I do not mean in literal terms, is just boot them out. Let them go onto an island and eat their own damn selves, because at the end of the day, my delicious little babies, and I say this about any government around the world, because they're certainly not the friends of you and I, my delicious little babies. Do you see what I mean, okay? And I do not see why ones should not be able to have a freedom of speech. I mean, my videos, I'm not talking literal terms, but, YouTube is, there we are, strangling me, so that my videos just cannot get out at all. But I'll repeat again, what I'm more concerned about is the information that I'm giving out to yourselves. And then if you do manage to look at my videos, for anybody, and I know that there are a few who are, so thank you, how I love you so, and thank you so very much for any views or for any likes, okay? But it's about the information that, there we are, I'm giving out. It's not about subscribers. I want the subscribers, there we are, to be reduced. Because for myself, it doesn't serve a purpose. You see? Okay? So let me just tell you this one video, my delicious little babies. Sorry, excuse me. This was flipping banging. This video was, my delicious little babies. Okay? Now then, very quickly, this uploader on old YouTube, my delicious babies. You're all right, little mates. You're all right, little rooms. This uploader is called Liam, spelled L-R-A-M, then space, that's capital L, and then space, capital L again. Is it Leclerc or Leclerc? I'll spell it for you, my delicious little babies. Leclerc. R-R-E. Okay, Lee Clare. Is it Liam Lee Clare? I'm very sorry if I've not pronounced it correctly. And this was uploaded 2 weeks ago, Mards Lichtig Babies. I was actually looking through, to see what videos I could find, and this is the one that I came up with. And I thought, well, one is a grand for today, Mards Delicious Little Babies. Okay, this video should read, and this uploader happens to have 13,300 subscribers. My delicious little babies, okay? Like I said, with anybody not in that way, not in that way. But this is what it should read, okay? Scammer cries, watching himself lose 25, ka-ching, 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 25 grand. Okay, my delicious little babies, or dollars, Yeah, $25,000. Okay, my delicious little babies. So just repeat that again for you, shall I? Scammer cries, watching himself lose 25 ka-ching, ching, ching grand, dollars, $25,000. My delicious little babies. Guys, now I'm going to close my book. We need to go back to where we need to go back to, you say. Now, this uploader, from what I can see, has not uploaded a lot of videos, I would say. Okay. It looks like he started his channel in 2020. He's on different platforms from what I can see, okay? But I've never seen this one before, but it's because I was looking for other videos, Martin Lichtig Babies, okay, which led me to this young uploader's video, okay? Well, bless him. And I will say that, there we are, my delicious little babies. I did put a like on it. I never put a comment, I put a like, okay? But like I said, I've just advertised him. Now, he had this scammer, Indian scammer, my delicious little babies, okay? Who started out all nasty, asking him to go to a different screen. And of course, this young uploader, bless him, well, I assume if it's Liam Lee Clare, so that his name must be Liam. That's what I would have thought. Well, Liam was pretending, my delicious little babies, and the video is just over 35 minutes long, to be a 72-year-old woman. Okay, my delicious little babies. So that's what he was doing. So his voice changed, and he, so he put on a different voice, and and he was going along, with this scammer. Okay, my delicious little babies. And then it got to, but you've got to watch it, my delicious little babies, honestly, right? Because he sat there, the uploader, right? He sat there, he's going, like, trying not to laugh, do you know what I mean? Out loud, my delicious little babies. Okay? And then this scammer, okay, wanted him, because he wanted the ka-ching, didn't he? He wanted the duh. So anyway, he says, well, so the uploader there then, he said, okay, so what I can do, he said, I'll go to this place, okay? So he said, what will, and then the scammer said, well, what will, who will be collecting the ka-ching? Its address. Okay, Martin, but that's what he said. He said, I'll tell you the address, okay? So what the uploader here now, right, you'll see, I thought it was flipping mint. Do you know what I mean? Slap my thigh, do you know what I mean? Flipping hilarious. It's hilarious to listen to it, Martin, just like babies can. And how angry and frustrated this scammer, this Indian scammer's getting. Do you understand what I mean? He even calls him at one point, you mother effer. Calls it, yeah? And he's still got his voice on. And he said, well, why are you abusing me like that? Do you know what I mean? But he's going, do you know what I mean, Martin? He's okay. But really, this is quite serious, okay? On a serious note, I'm talking about the uploader and the way that basically he had him a flipping treat. He skanked him big times. Do you understand what I mean, okay? And that scammer there now then, let me tell you, he couldn't get out of it. I mean, he was running off his mouth, using all his nasty tongue with his words now, right? But he couldn't get out of it, okay? Because your young man there now had effed him up. Do you see what I mean, Martin? Delicious little babies. I'd say, there we are. It was a job. A job well done, Martin. Delicious little babies, sorry. So, yeah. So, what the uploader who's talking, on the video, Martin, Delicious little babies, right? What he said was, he said, well, I went to places, and I gave the 15,000. He said, you know, to the one in a dress. And this flipping scammer, he was getting so vexed, he was getting so really angry. Do you understand? But the point was in all this, he was getting really angry and vexed with Kaching that wasn't even his. Do you see what I mean, Mad Delicious Little Babes guy? Now, when he was asked at the beginning, how long has he been in his job or whatever, I'm pretty sure I heard him say, was it 12 or 13 year, the scammer? But then towards the end of the video, he makes out that he's just new to the job and everything like this. Do you see what I mean? So in other words, the lies just roll off their tongues, isn't it? But there's more and more who are getting caught out. You know, there is a lot of footage on YouTube, my delicious babies. But on a serious note, and I'm being very serious, that could have really been a true 72-year-old woman lady. And if she has, you know, genuinely fallen, you know, for the scam, my delicious little babies, okay, then that is just so sad. And we've had an awful lot of it over the decades, my delicious little babies, in our old England to do with scams. And they sound all really lovely and convincing, but you hear how angry he starts to get when he genuinely does believe, until the penny drops, doom, doom, dong, dong, eventually, you know, that he's been skanked himself. Do you see what I mean, my delicious little babies, kind? The fact of the matter is that could have really been somebody real. You know, and in some of the comments, you know, I only looked at just a short amount, you know, but they were absolutely delighted with that video, you know, for the fact that that young man, that young uploader, there we are, is helping to make others aware. And what's it called? What was it called? Screen Connect. Okay, my delicious babies, that's what it was called. And the uploader, bless him, does put on the Screen Connect behind him, you know, as he's talking. Okay, my delicious babies. But this is marvellous because this is great awareness. And of course, while that scammer, you know, was on a dog and bone to your younger man there now then, you know, the uploader, okay, he wasn't being able to con anybody else or to scam anybody else. Do you see what I mean, my delicious babies? So I do believe that this needs to be talked about much more. Oh, and what else did I hear? So I was mentioning about the dog and bones, you know, these expensive ones, Care Delicious Babies, and I forgot where it was now because I did do a video on it, okay, where I give information on what video to look at. It's like every 15 minutes in London, my delicious little babies that, you know, a Moby's been stolen, robbed, my delicious little babies, okay? And then it ends up in, where did I say it was? Was it Algeria or something? And then, of course, you know, say if it's 800, ka-ching, you know, maybe. Sorry, excuse me. Then it sells for 12. Do you see what I mean? My delicious little babies, okay? So they put so much on top, don't they, my delicious little babies? That's how it seems to go, isn't it? But I heard a video the other day, and I cannot remember now. If I could remember, oh, there we are, or it comes up again, I'll write it down and I'll let you know. Are they saying some of these stolen Mobies are ending up in China as well? Ah, delicious little babies. Well, if China's the one who's making the majority of these Mobies, my delicious little babies, then why would all the why would they be going back, I wonder? My delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? That's all I heard anyway. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't believe I am. Okay? So you can see what's going on here, can't you, my delicious little babies? But like I said on one of my other videos, you know, that is, there we are, colossal. Ching, 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 business. My delicious little babies, you see what I mean? So, you know, and really, if you've got, let's just say, everybody in on it, you know, so even the old bill cannot help you. Do you understand what I mean? So where are you going to go if you cannot tell anybody or nobody can help you? Okay, my delicious babies, but then the chances are, unless you're dog and bones, you know, your Moby's insured. I mean, in some cases, it may not be insured. Well, then that means you've got to pay for a brand new Moby all over again, haven't you? Oh, that's what, on that scam video, that's what I was going to say. The young uploader said to your Indian scammer there now, right? He said, I don't have one of these modern phones. He said, I've only got a BlackBerry. Do you remember the BlackBerry Mardelistic babies? I'm not pointing at you, that's really kind. You'll remember the old BlackBerry. Do you know what I mean? I knew loads who had BlackBerry. Who else had a BlackBerry? My daughter had a BlackBerry. I think even my eldest daughter, I think she had a BlackBerry at one time, Mardelistic babies. Don't know, I could be wrong there. I don't know. No, I don't think she did. I'm sparing a thought. My thoughts. I think somebody else on her Mardelistic babies. Yeah, absolutely loved her. Maybe a dog and burn Mardelistic babies, the old BlackBerry. It's just like the same as those older. Oh, and that's another thing to tell you just before I go. Yeah, these smaller little Mobies, dog and bones now, Mardelicious little babies. Yes. Well, their sales have started to skyrocket. Mardelistic babies, I heard somewhere else. I cannot remember where I flipping heard that either. But yes, so it seems Mardelistic babies that that time is going. There we are, a bit backwards, isn't it? Mardelistic babies. Do you know what I mean? Could it be that we never had all of this hassle? That you have with these Mardelistic babies. It's like I could be in my flat, right, and I could call anybody Mardelistic babies. Okay? It could be anybody at all. It usually would be a dear friend, or usually to pay a bill, okay, or to call a taxi. But I have to position myself in an area. Otherwise, there's no signal. Okay, Mardelistic babies, and I could be sat down in one position, and then who's on the other end of the dog and burn Mardelistic babies will say, I cannot hear you. Have you moved from where you are? I said, no, I'm still in the same spot. But I do not remember those littler, them smaller ones being like that. Mardelistic babies nowhere near. I'm talking about the, like the 2G, I suppose the 3G, like that. Do you know what I mean? Mardelistic babies. But you never had all the hassle what you got now. Ones are like, I've said it before, say it long time, they're walking in the road, not looking where they're going. Do you understand what I mean? Mardelistic babies can. Please do not get me wrong. Occasionally, if I take my dog and bone out, my little Moby, if I take her out with me, it's usually of importance. I'm usually, listening to a very serious video or something like that, Mardelistic babies can. Or I need it to carry it for some reason. Do you know what I mean? Or if somebody's going to be calling me or something, that's the reason why. But other than that, I'll leave it at home. But yes, that's only from what I heard. But if that's the case, there we are. Then that's a good thing, Mardelistic babies. Because you want to go back to the days as well. I do not know. I think we still got what's it called? One of these photo shops up at the nearest little shopping centre, Mardelistic babies. It may be there, then again, it may not be. But you could go in there and go and get if you've been on holiday or something, and go and get your holiday photographs. Mind you, I've usually done that when I've been away on holiday. You know what I mean? I've usually got them done there. But even for those, everywhere was just disappearing. At least if you've got a proper photograph, you can look back, But what about these dog and burns that you've got all of your photographs, your life virtually on your dog and bone? And what about if your dog and bone gets stolen or something happens or something like that? Do you see what I mean? It's not the same as being able to physically hold a photograph and look at a photograph, Mardelistic babies. Do you understand what I mean? That's just the way that I see it. But you never had all this problem. The only thing that you used those for was just to, and I know some now, there we are, right now I do, who still use those small ones, Marzlish babies can. And they just say, this is all I need, it's banging, do you see what I mean? Okay? Send a text message or quick call, that's it. You know what I mean? It seems that since these came in, as much as they could be good, like I'm doing a video now to you, Marzlish babies, yeah, as much as it could be good like that, or you could do a bit of photography or whatever ever else. Sorry, Marzlish babies, yeah, I'm slightly stumbling there. The point of the matter is, I just think that sometimes these seem to be, there we are, more hassle than they're worth. There we are. Okay, Marzlish babies can. Anyway, you got plenty talking about it anyway. Saying that really we all need to ditch our, Mobies, dog and bears. I haven't said Moby. That's what we used to call them. Decades ago, I never used to call it a mobile phone. I used to always call it a Moby. Decades ago, Marzlish babies. Yeah. Anyway, Marzlish babies, so that's that. I've got plenty of moles, lights off. Seem to be putting these holes everywhere, Marzlish babies. They just seem to be in certain places, Marzlish babies, do you know what I mean? Now, surely, to goodness, like a little mole or a little fox is not just going to decide to randomly just do these little tiny holes, Marzlish babies, do you know what I mean? But I'm spotting, there we are, fair few Marzlish babies, if you follow me. Okay, so wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey buddies. Sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. And may your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. I never needed to stumble there, okay? Thank you once again, okay, for even taking the time to even listen to my video. Bless you, okay? And for any likes, how I love you also. So until my next video, whether it is morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you are, please have a super duper and beautiful time, okay? Please enjoy every moment, okay? Much love. Take care. Thank you. Bye. Oh, one more thing. I wish that YouTube would allow Not In That Way, Not In That Way, our lovely Mel K and her dear Rob, Not In That Way, Not In That Way with anybody. Okay, I wish that YouTube would allow them back onto YouTube, Marzlish babies. It's not fair, is it? Like I said, they're bringing on some, aren't they? But, not others. So what is that about then, Marzlish babies? I'm not sure if our lovely Not In That Way, Not In That Way, our lovely Charlie would. I wonder whether they would let him go back on as well, Marzlish babies. See what I mean? They're doing it with certain, so they're letting certain back on, and then not others. So what's going on there then, Marzlish babies? Just a question, isn't it? Just a question, isn't it, YouTube? Anyway, so thank you, love you, goodbye.